I guess we're live. Yeah, it looks like we're live. Oh, good, but who knows, honestly, because now it says it's not available. So, we'll see. Somebody can check. Maybe Wes can check on his end. All right, cool. Yeah, no, I got it. We're good here. I see everybody's smiling face on Twitter. Okay, I'm telling y'all, this is, I want to thank my guests, JP Decker and Kelly Smith, for their patience today, because my internet says, I don't know what's going on, y'all. I don't know if it's my internet, which says it's fast. I don't know if it's my laptop. This is the third laptop that I've actually tried. I don't know what's going on. Kelly may have an answer as to what's going on. She's going to enlighten us in a little bit. But I decided to bring y'all on at the beginning because I didn't want to take any chances that I wouldn't be able to get you back on the screen. This is the kind of day it is. So before we go any further, and thank you for your patience behind the scene, both of you, grab a pen and paper, everybody, because I got to go through some info here. Because I'm so bad at this. I'm so bad at explaining to everyone that is so gracious with your time and watching. I don't do a good job of saying, hey, here's where you can find us online, right? So, first of all, shout out to Gabby, who, just for the love of the game, set up an Instagram page for At the Mike Show. So it's at the Mike Show. Thank you so much, Gabby, for doing that. She puts up reels. She puts all sorts of stuff there. So go to Instagram and follow, please, At the Mike Show. Thank you again, Gabby. You're so awesome. Let's see what else. There's youtube.com/at the Mike. You know, you got to do that. I don't know why they make you do this over there, but see this? You gotta put the @ sign there. Keith, don't hold up anything. Your internet connection sucks. They can't see it anyway. So like and subscribe over there, please. And a lot of hard work by Wes over at themikeshow.com. Let's see, at the Mike Show FM. Boy, I really screwed this up. At the Mike.transistor.fm, where you have a dozen different places where he has put the audio podcast now. It's not just the video. If you want audio, a lot of you are asking for that, and I'm so grateful for you just finding the best place that works for you, like Spotify or iTunes. That's at themike.transistor.fm. Scroll down, you'll see literally a dozen places you can listen and get the audio only. You've got at Keith Malinak on Twitter. You see it there. And JP, what is your Twitter handle? I know you're on there. What is it? J. Paul Decker.
At J. Paul Decker.
And Kelly
J. Paul
yeah,
Decker.
you are at Kelly, the number 4, Freedom. Kelly, for Freedom.
4.
It's freedom.
Liberty, freedom, but it is freedom. Yes, that's how you can find me. Little spicy tweets, cats,
Good
aliens.
Stuff. Okay, I think I covered everything. Next week we're going to, on the deep dive, if you missed yesterday's deep dive, it was about 15-minute cities. That is terrifying. And we had a great conversation with Gallbladder next Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern. Wherever you're at right now, that's where we will be Thursday as well, just like you are today. Every Thursday and Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern. We're going to talk about the Islamization of Europe. That'll be the deep dive topic next week. And then Alex and David Cuesta will be my guests on the Friday live stream. They do a great job on the Alex Cuesta show. Great interviews over there. Looking ahead, Thursday, March 6th, Ed McCrae going to talk to us about underrated founders. Notice I didn't say underrated founding fathers. Founders. There's some chicks in there that need to get their due. Okay. So a lot of fun stuff coming up here. Thursdays and Fridays at 3 p.m. Eastern. All right. I really hope that everyone that is tuned in right now can see me, hear me, see my awesome guests. So why don't we get into some not-so-rapid-fire questions? That's the thing we like to do here is we get to know our guests. JP, this is your second spin on the Friday live stream. Kelly is a newbie, and so we appreciate. And Kelly, let me start with you. You're a real estate agent, and you're in Austin, Texas.
I am. Yeah.
And DMs are open.
Austin, Texas. DMs are open.
I have to know what's going on in the real estate market right now, because I can't figure it out from where I sit.
Honestly, we can't either. And I've got a couple listings right now, right? No, none of us can, because we'll be slow, slow, slow. Everybody's like dying for offers. And then all of a sudden it'll be multiples. And we're like, all right, we're coming back. Everything's good.
Wow.
And then it'll stop again. And I'm not sure, obviously I think some of it is interest rates, and I wasn't licensed in 2008. But I do have a lot of mentors and friends in the industry that were, and they said, the one thing that's different from now between 2008 is in 2008, it was pretty much insulated to real estate, people were losing their jobs. Well, now, we're paying more for food, we're paying more for cars, we're paying more for gas, insurance. I mean, y'all's toes would curl if you saw the insurance rates that people are getting right now on top of it. First, I've got a first time home buyer right now. She's 41. I haven't seen anybody in their late 20s, early 30s. It's sad, to be honest with you. I mean, everybody loves $1 million buyers, but I like first time home buyers, and I haven't seen a lot of that in the last few years. So it's weird. And anytime buyers can do whatever they want right now, but sellers, I'm telling, pack your patience. It could be 2 weeks, it could be 6 months. We just don't know, and buyers are being really bold right now. And they can, because they can. It's weird. And another thing, we were talking about earlier, the way that the market has shifted since COVID, and all the drama of the summer of love is we're not seeing a whole bunch of people live inside the city limits anymore. Austin, as I'm sure everybody knows, is the number one place for the California transplants, and, New York and whatever. When I first got my license, had to have an Austin address, non-negotiable, had to be in the city, don't even take me to the suburbs. Now, everybody wants to be in the suburbs. Yeah, no, I've sold one house inside city limits since 2021. Oh, wow. And even farther on that, people are wanting land. People give me acres, give me 10 acres. Let's put a barn dough on it.
Yeah.
It's weird to see the shift. So I started working on my, farm and ranch and land designations.
That's awesome. Okay,
Smart.
So I tell you, it is an uncertain time. I wonder if that's interesting that you mentioned how necessities like groceries are affecting people in their home buying choices. I wonder, JP, in your world of charity work there with mercury1.org, are people donating as much as they were, say, before the pandemic?
Actually, it's pretty amazing. We do have people donating nonstop because they trust us. We've have Mercury One's been around for 12 years, and they know that when we take care of their funds, they know it's going to go directly downrange. And so I think that's where it actually is. We've seen a pretty big uptick, especially end of year last year in January, especially with the LA fires. We helped a lot there through a lot of our partners. And yeah, we're still in North Carolina helping build. We're right now for the next 2 years, we're going to help through our partners build about 400 homes. And so it's pretty amazing to say that. But when you brought that up about the groceries and all the how much things are right now. And I don't know, you might have this clip later, Keith, so forgive me, I don't know, but Congressman Crockett.
You just have to say her name, and
I don't remember where she's from.
Dallas.
But she's from Houston.
She's from Houston? Okay.
Houston or Dallas? I can't remember.
I mean, when I read that yesterday, that she said, well, $5,000, what can anyone do with $5,000 in this? And I'm like, wait. $5,000? I know what I would do with $5,000. I'm pretty sure anybody does. I'll buy a dozen eggs.
I want somebody to show up at her next town hall if she does those, if she dares to do those, and ask her, what did you mean by that?
Yes.
What do you mean? What could I do with $5,000? I have a question. I'm trying to write this out here. here's a website that I should get as long as we're talking about donations, and then I have some questions here for you, JP, because breaking news just right before we started here that I have to ask you about. But I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this. Hero Wes, his wife, been struggling with ovarian cancer for the last 8-9 months here. GiveSendGo / Victoria Strong, GiveSendGo.com. / Victoria Strong. Help them out with their bills if you can. Such a lovely lady, and any help is much appreciated by Wes and Victoria. So I just had this thing that popped up on my news feed here just before we got started here. By the way, if you need a good follow of what's going on the ground in Asheville, it's Matt Van Swall. Yeah, so look for Matt Van Swall. Yep. I did a screenshot here, so I don't even have his actual handle here. He's okay.
He's a good friend.
Awesome.
Matt
he tweeted out in a horrifying admission from Asheville, North Carolina Mayor Esther Manheimer. Out of the $225 million promised for disaster recovery by Joe Biden, a grand total of $0 has been delivered to Western North Carolina. Where is the money? And so I got to thinking, wow, JP's going to be on here. How do you guys... I can't imagine being in charge of millions of dollars in donations and making sure that it gets in. And you guys have a reputation for trust, but how do you go about tracking all that?
It's a lot of scary responsibility. But what's amazing about it is when Glenn started Mercury One 12 years ago, he said, I want, anytime someone gives $1 to disaster relief, he wants that whole dollar to go to disaster relief. And so we're a little different than most nonprofits. We do not take any overhead costs. We don't take admin costs. If you give to, hurricane relief or a disaster relief fund, it goes to hurricane, recovering in Asheville, Swannanoa, Tennessee, all those areas. The only caveat to that is that you have a check mark if you pay credit card fees. If not, we'd have to take that on, obviously. But we never take admin costs. And so that's huge. That's why we have our maximum impact fund that goes directly to cover those things. But what we do is a fund comes in through our page, and that goes through probably 2 or 3 different departments. They make sure where it came from, that it's accounted for that donor, and then that fund goes into our account, and our accountants will figure out exactly what fund that is supposed to go to, along with our database. And then myself and my the other executive director, Suzanne, we both make decisions on, okay, they wanted this to go to disaster relief on humanitarian aid or veterans, and this is our initiative on what we're doing out there. So yeah, every single dollar, and plus we audit every year, which is awesome to go through willingly. And I think what's amazing about that, though, is, I've been through quite a few of them now that I've been here, and it's really cool. By the end of it, usually we always get a clean audit, and it always shows us that I can actually go to a donor and I can say, hey, you gave us, where there was about, I think it was 12 kids last summer who raised $500 to go help the people in Asheville. And so myself and Glenn got on a Zoom with the kids, and we told them exactly where that $500 went to. And that went to help provide generators and heaters, like the small heaters, to go into some of these homes that had no heater and no power and no electricity. And so it's so cool that we are able to do that. I mean, when Afghanistan fell, we raised millions within a few days, and we ended up taking over the Kabul airport, all flights in and out, and we rescued 12,000 people. And so even to this day, that Nazarene Fund is audited every year. And we can tell you exactly where those funds have gone and where they're still going, because we still are placing people all around the world. And it's just really cool to be a part of something like that, so transparent. I mean, we see what's happening with Doge and how transparent a White House can actually be, especially when they open up a media row in the White House. That's shocking to me. And that's how we are. We want to be as transparent to where everyone knows where the funds are going. Like we have nothing to hide, and that's what's really cool that we can say. But when I was out there a couple months ago, Matt texted me and said, "Hey, did you just see that they opened up a public restroom downtown Asheville for $400,000 of COVID funds?" And I was like, "I'm sorry, I'm actually in downtown Asheville. Give me a second." So I drove around and they had this big celebration. I had missed it just by like an hour. And it's one bathroom and it's all covered. And they really used it for the druggies that are around there, and they so that they could hide the people shooting up. But anyways, you walk by it, and it's a tin can, and it's pretty. It was $400,000 that was earmarked for COVID, but they did not just go back to the government and say, "Hey, maybe we should give it to the people in Asheville that lost everything," or I don't know. It's so disgusting how horrific the leadership in Asheville is. I so far have yet to meet someone in the leadership there in Asheville, Buncombe County, around that area that actually has their constituents in mind and want to take care of them. I'm sure, and I pray to God that they're out there, but that's why there's people like us with Mercury One. We were in there within a couple hours of the hurricane rescuing people from helicopters. So, we work with so many great partners that are still on the ground, but the fact that they were forgotten for so long and over 200 million is missing, that's they should all be fired.
Well, mercury1.org. Please help if you can. The devastation there is unspeakable. I have a buddy who works at a radio station in Asheville, and I've communicated quite a bit with him on this since September, and it is so bad. And then the weather not cooperating over the last several months either. So, okay, well, please keep them in your thoughts and your prayers, and if you can donate, mercury1.org. And if you're looking for a home in and around Austin, Texas, Kelly Smith. Okay, so
yes.
Yes.
For context, by the way, speaking of your bathroom, both of my listings right now in the suburbs of Austin,
and that's probably the hottest market in Texas.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right. Yeah. I mean, they're both within 20, 30 minutes of downtown Austin. I mean, our market's soft right now. But yeah, no, your one bathroom stall in Asheville is less than a couple of houses.
Oh my goodness.
In the
Okay.
suburbs of Austin.
Well, let's do some not so rapid fire here. We'll let ladies go first. Kelly, what topic do you know about better than any other? Uh-oh, she's already laughing.
Well, I mean, this is why I'm here, right? Aliens has got to be the first one. I can't wait for it. That's the thing. That's my jam.
Hang on.
Inner Earth aliens, interdimensional aliens.
Hold on a second.
Under, the sea aliens.
This is fascinating.
Under the sea?
Hold on a
Avatar?
second. So the aliens that are intergalactic,
please.
the aliens that are inner Earth, and the aliens that are under the sea, are they the same aliens? Are they different kind of aliens? Like, what's going on here?
They're probably different. I mean, I just look at the diversity of the species on Earth. I mean, of course there's going to have to be diversity of aliens, but I think that they've always been here. And I don't think it's in a way that we think that we picture them to be. I think that they can move through time and space.
We'll put a pin in that.
Can't
because
imagine.
Later on in the stack here, we're going to revisit this because I want to ask you guys
we're going to revisit
aliens about something that Congress is working on, and so let's come back to the aliens for sure.
Yeah. Besides aliens,
Kurt Cobain.
Interesting.
The death of Kurt Cobain.
The
I can
death.
talk about that for hours. The death.
So hang on.
Specifically his death. I can completely convince
it wouldn't
you
take
he was
much.
murdered.
So I guess my question would be: was Courtney Love the one that pulled the trigger?
Why though?
Does she know?
No, I don't think she was the one that pulled the trigger. But their nanny, she orchestrated the whole thing. So their nanny that was living with them, that was in the house when he died, was her drug dealer.
Okay, hold on.
Like
hold
some
on a second.
tranny dude.
Put another pin in it. Because you know what we're gonna do? Hang on a second. Hang on.
All right, I got it.
This is my very
Star
organized life. On the one side, you have the Thursday deep dive guests coming up, and on the one side here you got the Friday live stream guests. So you're on the Friday live stream. I think what we're going to need to do is we're going to have to find a Thursday for you to come here and talk to us about Kurt Cobain's murder. Okay? Let me.
Yeah,
I'm not kidding. I'm just looking for a writing instrument here. She doesn't believe me.
These are real.
Let's see here. Okay, hang on.
Yeah, I mean, I do. We want to talk about soaked in bleach. I have a signed copy of a book from Courtney Love's dad that he wrote about.
Don't give away all the stuff yet. That's just you already got me to say yes. Just wait.
No.
We're gonna reveal all this stuff. Yeah, that's good stuff. I can't wait. Okay, so JP, what is something that you know about better than other stuff?
So I was homeschooled, and usually about 3 or 4, we'd start watching TV throughout the day. I would say movies and TV. My background's in film and TV. I mean, I would 100% say film and TV.
Hey, my kids are homeschooled too.
My TV training.
And I think the modern equivalent,
right? Little House on the Prairie at 9 in the morning. Full House at 4. Come on.
I'm with you. At a certain point, you're just like, you know what? You've learned enough today. So.
Yep. I tutored under the producer of The Godfathers. That's how I started. Worked on a lot of documentaries with him. And then I worked with Mel Gibson and Jim Caviezel on a couple things. So, film is like my jam.
That's way sexier than the death of
let's see here. I know that you. What was it? Here's the problem, guys. I should have printed up what JP wrote me instead of trying to write it in my chicken scratch. Oh, this is what I wanted. This is what I want to ask you.
Just ask.
So just
a different answer.
What is the most quotable movie? Because there's only one right answer. But let's just see if.
I know.
What's the most quotable movie?
Do you quote the most?
From my perspective, or?
You can think about it while I tell you the correct answer.
Most?
But Kelly's already got an answer, apparently. Go ahead.
I'll think about it. Okay.
I do. Mean Girls.
Wow. Okay.
Hello. You can't just ask me people why they're white.
Well, that's different than mine. I was going to go with Tommy Boy.
Oh, my God. Yeah, I should have thrown that
Tommy
out.
Boy.
That's fine. That's cool.
I was going to say, like...
That's a good one.
Die Hard.
Yes.
I mean, there's so many good lines in Die Hard.
Sorry, go ahead.
But also The Godfather. Leave the gun, take the cannoli.
Sorry, I'm about to sneeze.
Come on.
It's pretty awkward. Thank you in advance. Okay, so let's see. What, JP, do you know about the details of the day you were born, sir?
The doctor ended up not showing up, and I was delivered by the midwife/nurse.
That might have been better.
Okay.
Right?
So wait, was this at the hospital? Was this at the house? Where were you? Okay.
This was at the hospital.
This is incredible. I interviewed
JP
who was not born at the hospital. Mike was, let's talk about people's life stories. And the story you tell about your firstborn, when I knew that your answer about your own birth, I was like, oh my gosh, what is it with this family? They can't get to the hospital or something always... There's always some missing piece. It's very important to the puzzle. In your case, being born, it was, where's the doctor? In the case of your firstborn, tell us what happened.
Yep. We were at a birthing center, and things ended up, midwife was not great. A long story there, but we ended up rushing out to the hospital, and it was about 30 degrees outside, and it was pretty much... It was life or death situation, so I don't mean to laugh, but now I can. She was born in the car. My wife caught her, and then she wasn't breathing, and so the midwife ended up grabbing her, blowing into her mouth, and then she started screaming. So it was awesome. It was a blessing. What's really crazy, actually, Keith, my brother-in-law just had a baby, and I hadn't been back to that hospital in 5.5 years, and we ended up. I got out and I was like, I'm having some some PTSD right now. And my wife was like, I don't remember any of this. And I go, yeah, I'm sure you don't. You were in a mode. And we ended up taking a picture with our daughter, just like right in the same
because it was the
spot on
back
the
seat
side
of
of
the
the
car,
street
right?
where she was born. It was crazy. But
front seat of the car,
it was front seat of the car. So it is my father-in-law's Lexus. So yeah. It was,
your
it's
wife
crazy.
is the real MVP.
Question if
He
I may.
really is.
Wow.
I don't know.
Was the car detailed afterward, or what? How do you? What do you do?
Yes. It was detailed. We were like in the hospital, and I texted my father-in-law. He was out of town and like was rushing back home to meet his granddaughter. And I was like, hey, so just so you know, there might be
we can
a
explain
mess
later
in the passenger seat. And he was like, yeah, I heard about this. And
wow.
So he ended up cleaning it. I mean, he gets props for sure.
What do they put on his birth certificate, like as place of birth?
I wanted them to put Lexus on there, but they ended up not doing it. It's just Baylor Hospital. Yeah. So I kind of want to go back and change it, but before she turns 18.
That's funny.
Just be like, Lexus.
All right, Kelly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Should have named her Lexus.
Right?
Mine's not that dramatic, but it's kind of cool. So I was a military kid. I was born in Okinawa, Japan.
Wow.
Yeah. So the story goes that and I don't remember the exact number, but there's like a threshold. If a woman is more than, let's just say 6 months pregnant, they have to go to the hospital because, if there's a typhoon coming, they have to go to the hospital. That was an important part, because when the typhoon comes in, the barometric pressure drops, and it's very common for babies to be born early because of the pressure dropping. Yes, and it might be 7 months. I can't remember the exact date. So my due date was Halloween. Typhoon comes in October 25th. My mom had to go to the hospital. My dad was en route. He was an F-15 pilot to Australia at the time. The only time he's ever gotten a TDY to Australia, and he had to turn around in his F-15 because they were sending my mom to the hospital. And he never got to go back, and he still holds that over my head to this day. But no kidding, my mom went into labor, and I was born about a week early. Because of this typhoon. And then my mom told me, she was like, I considered naming you after the typhoon, but it was Typhoon Gay, and that just didn't sound very nice. And I was like, I really appreciate that, Mom. Oh. Typhoon Gay.
Wow. That would be...
ended up as Kelly.
My goodness. Wow.
There you go.
And she hadn't had a middle name picked out for me yet. So they were waiting in the hospital. They put you like in a holding space, and there was an Elizabeth Taylor movie on, and she was like, "That's Elizabeth." That's cool. So that is my birth story.
Wow.
Japan.
Very cool.
In Japan.
Okay.
I do not speak Japanese, so don't ask me.
Interesting. I don't know that.
Typhoon Gay. Typhoon Kelly.
Gay.
I like
they called me Typhoon Kelly as a child forever.
If you, let's see, in school, I'm sorry. Boy, I need to work on my handwriting. In school, did you ever get suspended?
It's okay.
Side note, I'm loving the messages about Carrie and your wife and how she deserves to sainthood because she homeschools with you. So I agree with that. Carrie deserves sainthood for marrying this guy.
I could give you a dozen reasons why she deserves
spicy in here.
But shoot.
That's incredible. Like, I thought about it, but I don't know if I can do it.
Right.
In school, did you ever get suspended, expelled, or detention? And do you remember why, JP? Homeschooled. Piss me off. Go to your room. Report to your room.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it could have been anything from like playing drums with my pencils, or I don't know. It could have been anything.
Hang on a second.
Yeah, literally, I just got grounded.
You just resurrected a memory in me, especially 5th grade. Pencils, man. We had a pencil fighting league.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? We had a schedule. Yours truly made a lot of schedules. Yeah. No, not homeschooled. I wasn't homeschooled.
Homeschooled.
I'm talking about when I was in school. You take a pencil, right? So does anybody in the chat know about this? Okay, so you hold the pencil, and you can't spin it because that'll lessen the blow. But you have to hold it tight because if it comes off, then it's I don't know how, I don't remember all the minutia. But so what you would do is you'd rear it back like this, and then right, and you would hit. Right, and you tried it, and whoever's pencil broke, you lost.
Oh, yeah.
And we had a whole season, and it was wild, man. I don't think
did you ever win?
I don't know. It's just like it's a torque, you know. It's like
okay, well,
but you could cheat. You could cheat, you know, and you can catch your buddy cheating if you see the print move, you know, because he's spinning it. So Anyway, 5th grade. But that's what I thought of it. That's how distracted I get when someone says, "Yeah, we used to drum with our pencils," and the next thing you know, I'm off talking about my childhood. Sorry. So, okay. Let's see, Kelly. Kelly. Oh my gosh, I bet just in the brief conversations that we had, I bet Typhoon Kelly had her own desk in detention hall. No.
So oddly enough, I never got suspension or detention because, and it wasn't because I was good. I was really good at being bad in the military. I mean, you had to be. So we all lived on base most of the time. I mean, by the time you're bad, you're in high school. And I went to school like on base, and you lived on base and everything. Everybody's dads worked together. But in the military, like, if you get in trouble, your dad gets in trouble too. Like, it's not just you. So military kids are really bad, but really good at being bad. My best friend, I had my 2 best friends. My dad was a colonel. My friend Julie, her dad was the preacher, the base chaplain. She was terrible. I love her. And then my friend Laura, her dad was a 3-star general.
Wow.
So we had to be like good about being bad. I mean, we used to do stuff. We used to sneak out every single weekend. And this is how this is how smart I was. You remember in the 90s with sneaking out? Like when I started sneaking out, probably 13.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to picture. My
Get ready,
too, so.
It's
like
coming.
what do I got a lot to go. Get ready for.
When I would sneak out to meet my girlfriends in the 90s, y'all probably don't remember this because you're boys. There used to be some really popular nail polish that glowed in the dark. Like it was clear, but it glowed in the dark, right? So we lived in this 2-story house and it had wooden floors. So I went through my house to find the spots that didn't creak because my room was upstairs and I would put like a little paint on there. So when I'm sneaking out at night and the lights are off, I could see where I would step to not wake up my parents. Like that level, like recon bad. When we would have parties, there were no cell phones, obviously. My girlfriend and I would make a diagram of the house. Like this is where like all the furniture is. So everything could go back exactly where it was when your parents got home. I mean, you don't want the general coming home and finding, we threw
I have 2 questions.
Rager in the party.
That is incredible. Well done, first of all.
Yes.
Okay, so I know
Thank you.
in this house but I don't dare tell my kids. I know where the stairs creak too. So yeah, so that's number 1. But here's my question for you: your dad in the military. How many locations did you end up living as a kid, as a military brat? Well,
okay, that's good. I got to think about it for a second. So I moved. I was early. I moved out of the house at 17, and I want to say 12 different. We lived. I grew up completely in Europe. I was born in Japan, and then I've lived in probably 10-ish different states or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible stuff. I mean, when I got to college, my college boyfriend was from a little teeny tiny town of West Texas. First time he ever moved was into the dorms. Blew my mind. I was like, what? Like, you've known people like forever? Like, it just, but I thought it was normal, and people ask me now, like, was it hard? I'm like, no, like, everybody did it. And like, you'd PCS, you'd see your friends again in 2 or 3 different moves again, it was normal.
Oh, wow. I didn't even think about that. That would happen, huh?
What is PCS?
No,
yeah, what does PCS
military
stand
kids are
for?
built different. It's basically a business trip. I forgot what it's called. The acronym stands for. We just called it PCS. It's moving, or TDY is the business trip. That's temporary duty. I know that one. PCS is when you actually move, like you get orders somewhere to move. Because we would usually know I mean, sometimes it would be like a month and a half and you're gone. Sometimes it'd be 6 months. You never know. My dad would come home with ice cream. Anytime he came home with ice cream, my sister and I were like, oh, we're moving. Where are we going now?
Gosh, yeah. Here's the ice cream cone, honey. Pack your bags. So I always say that being a broadcasting kid, my kids, that's like if you're a radio kid, it's just one step below the frequency rate of a military kid. You know what I'm saying? Like you said you moved a dozen times.
Maybe.
That's shocking.
Maybe.
I thought 5 was a lot for my
At
kids,
least,
but no, apparently not. So okay, let's see here.
No. I went to 3 high schools.
Wow.
3 high schools, 2 middle schools.
You know, and that kind of
schools, maybe 2.
You said, you know, you were asked, was it hard? I don't know. I could see it being hard, but you know, if things are sucking at a location, that could be a breath of fresh air, right? These people have no idea.
You can reinvent yourself. You can be whoever you want the next time you move. Like, who cares? Yeah. No, it was pretty cool. I mean, and I grew up on flight lines and then, you know, airplane hangars with F-15s. We would go to the squadron for Christmas, and they would put some little second lieutenant in an F-15, dress them up as Santa, and they'd take off, and then they bring all the kids out to the flight line. No ear protection, like nothing, just on the flight line, and an F-15 would come in and land, and the cockpit would open, and Santa would come out, smelling like jet fuel and whiskey and cigarettes, you know, because it was the 80s. And it was great. I mean, I'm half deaf, you know, whatever. Like, I'm inhaling jet fuel fumes. But yeah, no, it was pretty bitch in life.
I hate to ask. I mean, what was your favorite state or base that you stayed at?
I have a big fondness for Germany. We lived off base in Germany. That was a couple times we would live off base, and my parents, like, that was kind of one of them. So I grew up in a German village. I speak German fluently. My childhood best friend is German. I mean, the culture, the food was fantastic. My favorite place in the States, besides Texas, obviously, I think it was Alaska. Alaska was really cool.
That's cool.
I'm my first test of the Northern Lights.
That's kind of cool. Hold on a second. Hold on. I'm not going to ask you too many details about the guy who kissed you. But here's my question. Okay. No, here was my question. My question was he a local to Alaska or was he a military brat? Okay, so again, not to
he was not a brat.
Not to ruin that romantic magic moment under the Northern Lights. My question was, how do we know he wasn't doing that with a lot of girls? Like, look, it's under the Northern Lights.
I'm sure.
Sorry, I didn't want to ruin
like, roll out the red carpet or something. It probably was. I mean, us military girls were like exotic, right? You know, to these civilians. We called them civilians, not local.
All right. Who's supposed to?
But then we'll go to the next. We'll keep the next
but there are no Northern Lights at Dobbins Air Force Base in Atlanta. It's the only Air Force base I could think of off the top of my head. I grew up right next to it. Let's see here. Who's the most intelligent person you know and why, Kelly?
I'm going to be basic on this one. It's got to be my dad. I mean, the man flew F-15s, traveled the world with a couple of kids. He worked at the Pentagon. He's done some stuff at Kirtland.
What?
He will not.
I was just about to ask you.
Big alien base.
I was about to ask you. What is he?
He will not.
What are these conversations like with him? And he will not do any. What?
Won't tell me.
Okay. Does he hint at anything? Does he? I don't want to get him in trouble here.
He has told me before that. No. This is fine. He's told me before, and keep in mind that he was a pilot like in the 80s and early 90s. So it's like the climate is completely different than it is now. But he said he says he personally hasn't seen anything, but he was like, I'd say probably 3 out of the 4 pilots that I knew have seen something, but nobody ever reports it. Like they'll talk about it with their bros or whatever, you know, after hours with a beer, share stories. But it wasn't ever reported. You never talked about it or anything like that. You just kind of kept it to yourself. He said everybody had a story.
So JP, Who's the most intelligent person that you know, and why?
Besides you, Keith,
I was totally fishing for this. Yeah.
No, definitely.
Stupid.
Yeah, yeah. No, I would probably definitely say my wife. She's just super smart.
They all
Way
are,
smarter
bro.
than me, way above my what.
Don't, Kelly, close your ears,
They
Kelly.
all are.
Close your ears for a second.
No clue
They
how I got
all are smarter than us, and they remember everything.
They are.
And
so
Carrie,
smart.
you're
Everything.
always right.
Oof,
That's
that
actually
is
a
true.
fact. Like, we'll start talking about something, and then I'll say, no, it's not that, it's this. And she goes, it's that. And then she'll show me, and I'll go, it's that. Yeah, every time. Every freaking time. Okay. So, what was the last
every
TV
time.
show that you binge watched, JP?
Ooh.
I don't care.
Last or current?
Just pick one.
All right. Currently,
That's good. I've been
I'm
wanting to do
rewatching
that
all
for
the
20
Seinfelds.
years, man.
That's a good one.
Fantastic. And I for first time, which is kind of sad. I'm just now watching it, but I love
I've never
politics,
watched
so
it.
I'm watching West Wing for the first time,
I haven't watched
and
that.
Yeah,
it's a
Never
lot of
watched
fun
it
to
yet.
watch.
I love that kind
Super
of stuff.
liberal, but I mean, I'm really enjoying
You know
it.
what was a good,
I mean, everything.
and I should watch The West Wing.
Yeah.
Because that is right up my nerdy alley. But it's the first season of Designated
Right.
Survivor was really good. Then it just blew chunks after the first season.
Oh, that was so good. Then it's
Yeah.
kind of like 24. The first few seasons were incredible, and then the last
yeah.
season where he like apologizes to the terrorist, you're
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
That's
not
how-
Jack.
What?
Yeah.
yeah.
Keeper
So
Sutherland's. Gross.
Yeah, but Seinfeld, I mean, living in New York, we lived there for a couple of years when I was at Fox. And every time I watch it, it's like reminiscing on my old times, even though they filmed it in LA, but still, it's
Okay.
like living in New York. Don't tell anyone.
I actually
Let's
didn't
see
know that.
here. Where do I want to go now?
Yeah.
I tell you.
Where were Kelly's? Where were Kelly's?
What
Oh,
am
my
I?
bad. I'm
We're
sorry,
watching
Kelly.
Yellowstone right now, and all of them.
Oh.
The Yellowstone. You're fine.
I
I'm
never
a
finished.
bad host.
I told you
You're
we're
welcome.
best
I
friends.
care.
host.
I care.
Have you finished? You haven't finished it? Like the new one that just came out?
I mean,
a couple months ago?
I know how it ended,
And I did
but I would
too.
love to rewatch it again. Oh,
We
it was such a
rewatched
good
it
show.
right before the the ending of it came out. It's so good.
Yeah.
And then we're finishing up 1883. We're getting ready for the new 1923.
Nice.
1883 was my favorite
Yes.
by far. Like Yellowstone was
1883
good. but
is the
18 yeah,
greatest
yeah.
I
TV
need to
Is that your
watch
show
favorite too?
of all time. As
I
far
haven't
as I'm
watched it.
concerned. And it's only,
God,
what,
it's
10
so
episodes?
good.
8
Okay.
episodes?
Characters.
JP,
Yeah.
I'm not going to ruin.
It's like
That's
I'm not going to
awesome.
ruin anything for you, JP,
You
or
need
anybody
to.
that hasn't seen 1883. I've tweeted about this, but and Kelly won't. She's not going to ruin anything either. But the scene where
I'm not.
the oldest, with the daughter, is talking with the captain. Okay, you know what I'm talking about? Where they're sitting there talking. That is the greatest scene in TV history, as far as I'm concerned. The dialogue, the acting. Anyway, so okay. I need to go back and watch
Everything.
1883 now. It's only like 10 episodes, right? 8. It's not.
Yeah, I mean, we're like
Okay.
finishing up right now. I think we started.
And
last
I
week,
won't say
so.
anything about the ending of
Nothing.
Yellowstone except for this. Taylor Sheridan was handed,
Oh,
through the Kevin Costner drama, a big pile of crap, and what he was able to turn the final season into off of that was incredible. That, I mean, seriously.
Agreed. Because I knew going into it what would have happened.
Well
and I was
done,
like, how are they
Taylor.
going to get around that? Like
Yes.
Kevin
yes, he did.
Costner.
So
and he
I thought this
nailed
would be
it.
fun. And
Good for him.
I'm not trying to set y'all up here, but with Canada in the news, I thought, you know what? I don't know how many provinces and territories there are, but I'm going to try to count as many as I can come up with, and let's see how well I did, okay? It's not easy, because...
Oh.
No.
Am I
I'm just
fact-checking
telling you, I didn't do that well, and so I'm not trying to embarrass y'all, but I want to see if you can Guess how many territories and provinces there are, and how many can you name? Because they're in the news. You don't want to play? JP doesn't.
Wow.
I'm going with my gut.
Okay.
I'm going to go with my gut. I'm going to say 5.
Okay.
I'm gonna say
Somebody can do my job
7.
for me in the chat here, because this didn't list them. It's just a map. No, okay, so it looks
my
like
gosh.
there is again, somebody seriously fact check this. I'm not kidding, please. I think is this I'm counting 2, 4, 6. Is it 11 provinces and
Hold on.
3 territories? This didn't print. Oh, you do that. Do that
Ask
for me. Do
Rock.
my job
Are you
for
on
me.
Twitter? Ask
How
Rock.
many? Thank you. How many provinces and territories
you,
are there
sir.
in Canada?
How many provinces?
Okay, since you're doing that, JP is going to see how many he can name.
also ask Rock, why
Because
do I
we're going to
care?
take it over
Yeah,
one day,
right?
and we need to know how many individual states are we going to. Is it going to be?
That's what I want to
Is
hear.
it going to be?
We got to take them over.
Is it one state,
think
or
we
are we
wanna
going to let
take
them
them
break
over,
into the
though.
little provinces and stuff? Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Hold on. Hang on.
We're gonna take
The
Greenland.
Knights Who Say Knee
Oh,
And take
yeah.
Canada.
has done the, okay, 10 you said, right? 10 provinces, Kit? Okay. Alberta, British Columbia,
provinces,
Manitoba, New
yes.
Brunswick, Newfoundland, and Labrador. You don't get 2 names. It's like Trinidad and Tobago. You pick one. Nova Scotia, Ontario, Prince Edward Island, Quebec,
that was fun.
Saskatchewan. Yeah, but okay. Here are the territories: Northwest Territories, Nunavut, and Yukon. So 13 total entities there. And I think I got.
Wow.
Why they gotta make it so
There's a
confusing?
great
Okay.
Canadian show. 2 great Canadian shows. One, it was Avonlea, Disney show way back when. Took place
Oh, wow.
in Prince Edward Island, right around there. Another one, Due South, that used to be on CBS.
Oh,
And it
that
was about
good.
a Mountie that had
I
to
kinda
work in
like that.
Chicago at the police station.
Yeah.
It's a great show. It's one of the best things that ever came out of Canada was
Yes.
an actor
Uh,
out of Canada.
hang on a second.
That's funny.
Have you guys been following this stupid asteroid? They keep changing the percentage chance of it hitting us. It's gone from 2.6 to 3.1. Now it's back down to
Yes.
1.5%. And that's just in a few days. We have until 2032, if you haven't heard, this asteroid they think is going to hit us, a 1% chance at this point. I feel like they're holding back some information. I don't think they want to tell us, but they want to be able to say, well, we warned you. There was a chance. What do y'all think? Are you much concerned about this asteroid? Anyone?
Go ahead, Kelly.
Uh-oh.
I got a lot to say about this. Did not bring it in.
That's right. I got to make sure we get to that alien story. No.
I
No,
know,
we're gonna
sorry.
get to it.
I'll rein it in a little bit. So the last threat that we had from an asteroid, there was one, and I think it was like 2.6%, and it was in 2004. And they didn't tell us anything about it. Like, do you remember it?
I remember something
Oh,
very
yeah.
recently, but you're saying
There was
2004?
one. I mean, you're just like,
Wow.
it was like 2004. I remember. I could have the date off by a year or two, but I think it just like everything else is like really sensationalized right now. I mean, there's like if we knew all the stuff that is flying around us
and more
all
and
the
more
time
every
in
day.
space,
All
like,
the time.
With all the stuff they're
we would never
launching.
sleep.
No. Yeah.
Every day. I mean,
Yeah.
it's more than the human mind could like comprehend out there. Like, we're always in danger, and for them to say this asteroid, is 7 years away and these percentage chances, I think it's just not to be David Icke, but to stir up the loosh.
I think we should call it Bruce Willis out of
No,
honor of Bruce
well,
Willis.
definitely we got to
So-
call Bruce Willis.
And
It's
Armageddon.
going to be
that
interesting
thing.
to see if they actually come up with a plan for this. But I've got $1 million. Probably.
It's gonna
That's
disappear.
But
Just
I
like
think I
all
have
the
$1
other
million
ones.
idea for somebody.
Yeah.
So if anybody can make can create apps or have that kind of knowledge base, you need to make an app. It could be the asteroid tracker. And so every day at the water cooler at work, you can be like, oh my gosh, we're up to 5.8% chance of... And you know how the poly markets...
Yes.
Oh, really?
They have one for sharks.
Oh, you can track sharks. Yeah, that's right. No, I'm aware of that.
Yeah, it's a shark tracking app.
Yeah, Pico, the famous shark.
They put it on the
he went all over the place, from the Northeast down to the Gulf of America. The Gulf of America, excuse me. I feel like I'm going to get my ass thrown in jail if I say Gulf of Mexico anymore. That's right.
You're gonna get
you know how they have the poly markets. And so you can bet on events or presidential elections, so on. And, okay, there needs to be a poly market for this asteroid. The problem is, if it's a direct hit, that thing ain't paying out. If you buy in when it's at 1%, that's a big payoff if it actually hits us. But I don't know.
Hold on a sec.
Who's paying it? Okay, so I'm looking for. I had this. Here we go. I found it. Here we go. All right, get your alien talk ready. The House Committee on Oversight and Government Reform is vowing to be transparent with the American people on issues such as assassinations, 9/11, COVID-19 origins, and UFOs. So here's my question for the two of you and everyone there in the chat. If you'd like to participate in the chat, maybe you're watching at Twitter. The gang hangs out and chats over at youtube.com/@themic. I just want to make that clear. I'm wondering, do you think, how much transparency are you actually expecting from Representative Anna Paulina Luna and Representative Comer? I just wonder, do you think we're actually going to learn some stuff here? Or is it going to be a bunch of nothing burgers? I can already tell that JP is not expecting any shocking revelations. What do you think?
I'm frustrated that they built a whole committee on this. No offense to Anna. I think it's really cool that she wanted to do this, but put it all on archives, on the National Archives website, and let us look at it. Why do we need Congress people who already, Congress has one of the lowest ratings in a long time. So why do we need to, why do we trust them to go through it?
It's such a simple,
I don't get it. I don't get it.
Profound point. You know, like, we don't need gatekeepers. I thought that was the whole point.
Yeah.
That's...
Right. He did it. He released it. So be transparent and release it. We don't need hearings. Hearings are a waste of taxpayer money anyways. Nothing is accomplished.
I don't like all this time they've got.
I don't know.
They've got a lot of time with Sharpies.
No,
and I don't like that the FBI...
Yeah. And then big poster boards that they'll just
put
up
FBI
and say,
this saying, we found... This extra, was it 40,000 pages from the JFK investigation, the 2,400 pages or something, or what was it, files with equaling 40,000?
Yeah.
2,400 files,
40,000 pages. 2,400 files.
And to your point, JP,
surprise!
Okay, let's just say you actually just found that, which we know that you didn't, but let's just say you did. Then what the hell? Then just push it out. Why? What's the holdup here?
Yeah. It's kind of funny because, with Mercury 1, we also have a history museum. And so we have about 100,000 historical artifacts from the Pilgrims to the space race right here in Dallas. And we're scanning it and we're digitizing it. Super, super easy to do. When you've got the process, you literally go in and you scan it, and then we're going to put it up on a database for the world to be able to search history. So, it's all of our artifacts, which talk about God's providence through American history, but also, we've got the good, the bad, and the ugly of American history. So just upload it. Haven't we been paying billions of dollars to the National Archives? So it's just upload it, let us look at it, and let the American people decide.
Here's the counter argument.
It's pretty much our job anyway.
Yeah, but Elon made us get rid of all of our employees, so now we don't have anybody that can scan stuff. Sorry. So, okay, anybody in the chat that's within driving distance of Dallas, or you're planning on being anywhere near Dallas, Kelly, how old are your kids?
So I have a 7-year-old, a 9-year-old.
Okay. Well, what I was going to suggest is you have to get to
the spread
museum that JP was just discussing. Anybody that can get up to Dallas, not only for the American. What's the website, JP? I'm sorry to put you on the spot. American Journey Experience.
American Journey Experience.
I always put you on the spot.
You're putting me on the
I'm
spot.
writing it down.
It's like $20, right?
AmericanJourneyExperience.com.
30 something. It's such a good deal.
Yeah.
It is a museum like you've never experienced. You aren't just walking around looking at boring placards going, okay, maybe I'll look at this, maybe. No, you have someone storytelling, letting you hold these hundreds of year old items and artifacts and telling you what you're holding and the stories behind it. It is truly the most well done museum that you guys do over there, JP. So if you're ever in Dallas, I would recommend getting to that, and I would go over to the JFK, the School Book Depository, 6th floor museum, because that's interesting.
The 6th floor museum. Yeah.
But where was the other shooter from? Was he in the car?
I had not heard that one before.
The Secret Service agent.
I've heard it, but I don't
just
really,
this year. Yeah.
I've heard it. Apparently, there's a new video out, and everybody's like swearing up and down that they can see the driver turn around. I've watched that video 100 times.
I've watched it so many times too.
I don't see what that like, and I'll believe everything.
This is not the stance of HAE, our museum, but I do believe there was a second shooter. Yeah. I think it just makes more sense. I watched that Seinfeld episode with the silver loogie with the spit on Kramer, and that was one of the funniest episodes. But I
never remember the name of the book. But Robert Morrow. My audience is so sick of me talking about this book. This guy who bought the guns, didn't know he was buying them for the assassination. 3 rifles. He made these radios that were on a different frequency that you couldn't. I'm telling you, it was 3. And you just read the book. Oliver Stone's JFK is very close to the book.
Wow.
And as I've said before, after I read the book, I still had never seen the movie JFK. And then I found out later that Oliver Stone got a lot of input from the author. And I thought, that makes sense. So watch JFK from Oliver Stone if you haven't. It's about as close as you're going to get to reality of what happened that day, I think. So you just mentioned something else that I can't let go, but I forgot what it was, so I guess I'm letting it go. The Silver Loogie episode on Seinfeld. I got to tell you, Keith Hernandez, the New York Mets player who was in that episode, he nearly killed my mom. Before an Atlanta Braves New York Mets game back in the late 80s.
What?
That's back when they had the picnic area. It was her company's picnic night down in the bullpen.
Yeah.
And so I was watching the pitchers warm up before the game, and it's right on the field. And so I called her over here to the bullpen to watch the pitchers warm up. And so she turned around, and then no sooner did she turn around than she just like collapsed. And I was like, oh dear God, my mom's been shot, you know? And so what had happened was, my instincts as a kid, I think I was 8 years old. It's like I was helping her, but then people were helping her, and I saw she was alive, and then I turned around. Who just hit a line drive down the first base line? And during batting practice, it was Keith Hernandez who tried to kill my mom with a line drive that hit her in the back. If it had been 4 inches higher, it would have hit her in the head. So, Keith Hernandez, I'm watching you, Keith Hernandez.
That's crazy.
Wow.
So let's see. So let me talk to you now, Kelly, about what do you expect to be disclosed with the aliens and stuff. I figured you did.
I have a lot to say about this one.
Let's hear it.
To piggyback on JP, I totally agree. I think that, I'm super, when they started talking about it, kind of perked up. I was like, okay, but, she keeps saying, we're coming out with it. We're coming out with it. Like, just put it out. Like, we don't quit telling us. Like, we don't need these hearings. But, I'm going to nerd out for a second. So follow me, bear with me on this. This is my thought process on disclosure. Because I've been following this, since I was a kid, way before social media made it, acceptable, and sexy and all that. Are y'all familiar with Werner von
Nazi
Braun?
guy, right?
Oh, yeah.
So he
We
was
have a lot
a
of
Nazi.
documents from him.
Yes, he was a Nazi. We brought him over here during Operation Paperclip.
Hold on a second.
He
Hold
sent us
on.
to the moon.
So let's see.
So
Kelly Smith, Kurt Cobain death, and Operation Paperclip. That's going to be a long day. I'm writing it down.
I'm to clear my schedule. So he, and I don't know if y'all know this part of it. So when he got cancer towards the end of his life, and when he retired, he spent the last couple of years of his life going on this whole like campaign with his secretary, I think it was, talking about, essentially it was, listen, we have all this technology. Like, I've seen it. We've rebuilt it. It is there. We have the aliens. We have the crafts. We've rebuilt the crafts. Like, I have rebuilt the crafts, right? Oh, and by the way, the government is planning to use this later, like as some kind of false flag, you know, fear tactic, something like that. So he went on this, like till his last breath was talking about, do not trust government disclosure. Aliens are smarter than us. They don't need the government. If they want to be seen, we'll see them. But he just, I mean, like, went to his deathbed telling us, do not trust government disclosure. Whatever they tell you, it is the government. Like, you know, if you see aliens landing on the White House lawn, that's the government doing it. So I've come from, you know, again, like this like long space of watching that, you know, and while I would love disclosure, obviously, I think the government should tell us the truth. Man, I am really, really hesitant to believe anything that they say. I'll believe, you know, these guys that come out from the Air Force, you know, and the pilots that talk about it, regular people, you know, I've seen stuff myself, like, but, you know, I just, and Tucker had a episode not too long ago about UFOs, and he brought up a point that I'd never really thought about that I thought was super interesting, and I think the reason why they won't disclose it is because they're profiting like from whatever technology it is that they have, you know, like free energy or whatever.
Ashton Forbes. Y'all have to just X Ashton. You know, please follow him. He's all over this.
Ashton Forbes.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and in fact,
he's amazing.
Go ahead.
But no, I mean, I was about to done. I'm just saying, like, there's no organic reason for them to tell us.
Correct.
There's lots of reasons for them not to tell us. I'm
kind of curious, though. I think I heard you just mention in passing that you've experienced something yourself.
You know, a couple things here and there. I've seen some weird things. I
don't know.
Do I tell about that?
Do you want to save it for this episode that I've already penciled in?
One's kind of weird.
Yeah, you know what? Hang on a second. Hang on.
It's your show.
Hang on.
It's your show.
You know, these boxes this grid that I've made, there's only so much space here. Hang on. Kelly Smith, Kurt Cobain death, Operation Paperclip, her UFO experiences. Plural?
UFO.
Oh my gosh! I don't have that much room in these boxes.
There's 2 times.
All right, we're gonna have to.
I'm sorry. You didn't know that.
Okay, so it's going to be interesting to see what they disclose, but I think you're right. The longer that we go from we're going to disclose them to they're released, I don't like that. Each passing day, it gets less and less believable. Yeah.
Well, the whole New Jersey drone thing, like, would have been like a perfect opportunity, and they're like, "Oh yeah, no."
Yes.
Like, next, you know, like, it shut down an Air Force base.
Does Trump believe that?
And then all of a sudden, it just ended.
Do you think Trump believes that they're ours, or is he just passing along what he was told to say?
I just wanted one follow-up. Like, can you prove it? Maybe just show it to us.
Yep.
So, I mean, that was a lot of drama for, you know, backyard drones. You know,
and
that
now
one,
nothing?
I think it was I forget where it was. I think it was at Heathrow. And I know y'all remember this. It was like during Christmas time, and it was a commercial plane, and they took a picture out of the cockpit, and it was like, that looked like a volleyball kind of thing floating down the runway. Like,
okay,
make
sure that. Yeah, please do.
Okay, I'm gonna have to find it and send it to you. But
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
missed
this
that
is a
one.
pilot, like sitting in a cockpit. You can see, the airplanes behind it and everything. And it looked like it was kind of like a dark gray
Wow.
color.
I
So
look
it
forward to
looked like a
seeing this.
volleyball for
Okay.
all intents and purposes, or whatever. Floating down it was when all that New Jersey stuff was
So,
going on.
Huh.
on this article, where did this come from? MSN. Oh, so this is good. So it's an article that talks
Yeah,
about the
this
wisdom
is
of
good.
crowds. And it's a phenomenon whereby the collective opinion of a group of people often provides a better judgment than that of a single expert. It is the in its most famous example, the statistician Francis Galton recorded how, in a competition to guess the weight of an ox at a county fair in 1907, the average of all 787 entries was astonishingly accurate. So the crowd guessed 1,207. It was 1,198. So they were 9 pounds off? Very close. And so that's the term, wisdom of crowds. I'm going to skip a little bit of this, skip a little bit of this. So they've applied this to now, and in his 2024 prediction contest, the wisdom of crowds beat 87% of individual forecasters taking part in the exercise. And this is over in Britain, so there are a lot of British political stuff or what have you. Now, 51% of those that were asked about current events said that Elon Musk would be fired from his role at Doge. I mean, that's half. 16% chance that... Okay, so here we go. What are the chances that the United States will end up with either the Panama Canal or Greenland? 16% chance. We kind of got the Panama Canal
Really?
taken care of, as far as I can tell, right? So, let's see. The chance of a lasting ceasefire or truce between Ukraine and Russia before the end of the year is at 50%. So that's not right. Chinese blockade of Taiwan, 32%. So that's not likely. Anyway, it's kind of a fascinating article to just how this whole wisdom of crowds thing work. And again, most of these predictions are British stuff that whatever. So I wanted to ask y'all if you had any predictions, anything, politics, sports, weather, any predictions that we want to get on record now in February that by the end of the year will take place. Do you want to go on record for anything?
Back to aliens. I think it might come out.
No, you're good. You're good.
That I know. Sorry. I think it's gonna.
That's
I think
good.
it's gonna come out that a lot of what we're seeing is
wonk wonk.
But that it came from them at some point. But I mean,
That's
it had
unfortunate.
to I know. But I think. But I think it.
I was gonna say.
Trace back
I was just about to say.
Roswell
Just
whatever. Like.
Yeah.
Go back and learn as much as you can. In fact, I should just do a show on this from Roswell, because that's before they figured out how to properly cover their tracks, and there is
Correct.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying.
no. I was just going to say the technology
Go ahead,
itself
sorry, I cut you off.
from
You got
the
excited.
crinkly material
Right.
in that kitchen before the government comes in and gets it.
Oh yeah.
I would love to know, and I have no idea, but I would love to know how much, if any, of our fascinatingly awesome technology originated from that. Is from aliens. I don't know.
Yes. Yeah, and that's exactly what I was going to say, Liz. I think both things are true. Like, I think that the government is totally lying to us and pulling all the wool over our eyes and fabricating a whole bunch of it. But it had to come from somewhere. I think they also still have it. You know what I mean? I think both things are true. But I think we're going to find out that a lot of it is that.
I hope we actually do learn this. There's a comment here. Yeah, here we go. Sue, I'm sorry, but no. We are not using Psychic Nikki anymore. You want to talk about somebody with a failure rate, psychicnikki.com, and then you have to... Yeah, so this is a bit that we do on Pat Gray Unleashed on my day job there, is that every year we go through Psychic Nikki she lists thousands. I'm not exaggerating. Thousands of predictions, and you have to print them up every year. And so at work, if you guys are watching Pat Gray, off to my side is a whole mess of junk because I'm the most unorganized person in the world. But there are stacks. There are stacks of printed up every year.
It's true.
I have about 6 or 8 of these. In 2020, her predictions for 2020, nowhere in those thousands of predictions is anything about a pandemic or COVID or anything that sounds like that. And you're like, if you could get anything right, and you even knew toward the end of 2019 stuff was happening in China. Anyway, I digress, but it's trust the wisdom of crowds as opposed to individuals.
No
I think that's the bottom
Mickey.
line there. Okay, so did we have a prediction? You said the aliens. JP, you got anything that we should expect for the end of the year? By the end of the year?
Doge will save us $1 trillion
I like it.
by the end of the year.
I love it.
And Thunder wins
What's
the
their
championship.
seed right now in the NBA?
That's
if
it.
the playoffs were today.
That's all I got.
They're the 1 seed?
They're one.
Cool.
Should
How
be
the
one.
Mavericks doing? Sorry,
Yeah.
too soon. Okay. That is, I tell you, that is horrific. I'm not even a Mavericks fan, and I feel so bad for those that are. So bad. I was just
so bad.
yeah. Okay. Let's see here. Oh, this is fun. I thought when I saw this story, see, I go through, I find some stories that might be fun, and I love it when it works out that the topic that comes up, like in my feed, is perfectly timed with my guests. And so I think, Kelly, correct me if I'm wrong, this sounds like it's right up your alley. Why? Here's the headline. Why do some people remember more when it comes to dreams and others don't? Is that right up your alley or am I wrong? Okay.
Oh, that is
okay.
A good one.
So I thought,
that
that seems like right up your alley. And then I read the article, and now I don't know if it's as cool as it sounds. So here you go. Okay, here we go. So according to researchers at MIT, School for Advanced Studies, let's see. Three main factors emerged as strong predictors of dream recall. Now, again, I'm reading this. I'm thinking, this is going to be so cool. And then I'm reading, hold on, maybe not. A person's a person's general attitude toward dreaming. Their tendency to let their mind wander during waking hours, and I'll break these down for you. And their typical sleep patterns. Yes, you're exactly right, Kelly. So quote, dreams are a good way of learning about my true feelings versus dreams are random nonsense from the brain. So in other words, if you are predisposed to believe that dreams have deeper meanings, then you're more likely to recall your dreams. That's one way, okay? Let's see. The relationship between daydreaming and dream recall points to an intriguing possibility. People who spend more time engaged in spontaneous mental activity during the day may be better equipped to generate and remember dreams at night. I mean, this article's kind of a letdown so far, right? Yeah, lastly. Right, thank you.
Sounds very MIT.
People who typically had longer periods of lighter sleep with less deep sleep were better at remembering their dreams. And it goes in to talk about brain waves, and when you're in deep, deep sleep, the way that your brain activity isn't conducive to remembering. And like I said, I set this segment of the show up to say, how cool is this going to be? But now you went on the depressing ride that I went. And you're
that's
like,
cool.
Not so much.
No, I mean, we spent a third
Hold on. We're supposed to spend a third of our life.
Wow. Wait.
Well, normal
supposed
people
to.
do. Well, I mean, so much time. I don't think that the creator, in whatever capacity you think that is, would just let it be nothing, you know? I mean, but what about this? Like, have y'all heard, this is a whole rabbit hole that just absolutely blows my mind. It was about like a year ago. You heard about people that don't have an internal dialogue.
I should probably set this one out because. No, I do. I
do you
sure
not
as
have an
hell
internal
do.
dialogue?
And I don't know how much I want to talk about that.
No. Like I got different people that can talk to each other.
So we're all hearing voices. We've established that. Okay.
Yes. We're all hearing voices.
Yeah, I know.
I can have full conversations with myself in my head. But like,
I
wonder if that has some kind of like impact on dreaming. That I'd like to see, like, do people with internal dialogues? Because like, I dream like crazy. I will go all over the place. I can remember them like out of control. I don't know about y'all, but like, is it something different?
I talk to myself, but I don't remember my dreams
dream
very
like that.
So
I
don't.
Really.
Ask anyone in the chat.
You need to take some
They'll tell you. I don't sleep.
I can get it. Read your vibe. Take some fish oil too, by the way. That supposedly helps like crazy. Like people that try to lucid dream will take high doses of fish oil to achieve it.
I'll think about that.
Fun fact.
Is it?
You could get it on Amazon, Keith.
Some melatonin works too.
I've tried a lot of things. I'm not going to list them all here. It'll bore everyone to tears. But no. Well,
no, I'm interested.
What have you tried? Things that I think is actually helping. Somebody remind me. Is it NAC or something? I don't know. Does that sound NAD, NAC?
Oh, NAC.
MOUSE? Anyway, it's good.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. There you go.
JP, what does that do? Great question. And at the time that I purchased it, I knew. Now I don't. I've just been taking it, and I think it's been helping. I'm just seeing if anybody can remind me. Is it NAC or is it NAD? What is
Interesting.
The bottle's downstairs, and I'm not going to run down there and grab it, but it's NA something. NAACP. NAACP. Okay, so...
Interesting.
Okay, so you were talking about all the places you've lived and stuff. JP, did we talk about... No, it was in your email, wasn't it? Tell us, JP, all the places you've lived. Kelly, you're on deck because I want to see if Kelly can remember all the places she's lived.
It's really hard. Okay. I try to do it every now and then.
Yeah, make a list. Make a list.
I'll think about it while JP's going. Or am I going first?
All right, mine's easy. Mine's easy. Started in California, born there, moved to Oklahoma when I was 7.
Okay.
Lived in Oklahoma for about 20 years. Moved to Texas.
Okay.
Lived here for about 6 years, and then got married. Moved to New York City for a few years, and then moved back to Texas.
Wow. Okay.
So
yeah, keep your list going. That's fine. Make your list there. And JP, I want you to be thinking of the place. You don't have to answer yet. Be thinking of the place you liked the least. And I'm going to play this video. I don't trust the computer. It'll probably disconnect from the internet if I try to play this today. So I'm going to play this from my phone. These are the 5 places people regret moving to the most in the United States. Let's see if this will play okay.
Which state do people regret moving to the most in the U.S.? Firstly, the state where people are most happy after moving to is Tennessee. But here are the top 5 states people regret moving to the most. At number 5, it's California. Around 59% of people who move there decide to leave again. At number 4, it's Connecticut. About 60% of people who move there leave. It's not very cheap to live in this small state. At number 3, it's New York. About 63% of movers decided to leave. The cost of living and busy lifestyle make it hard for many to stay here. At number 2, we got Illinois. Around 67% of movers leave after a while here. Many people don't like the high taxes and the cold winters. And finally, at number 1, this state tops the list with a whopping 70% of people leaving after moving there. It's super expensive, and the bad weather doesn't help either. It's New Jersey. Which state do people regret moving to the most in the U.S.? Firstly, the state where people are most happy after moving to is Tennessee.
Okay, so Tennessee is the most happy. Most regret.
Wow. I do not. Tennessee. No offense to people in Tennessee, but I don't. I mean, I like it. My sister lives in Tennessee, but I don't know.
I'm a fan.
I love Tennessee.
Really?
Yeah. So I'll make a list.
Yeah. New York is very expensive 13.
To live in. Wait, she's
I'm
at 13. That means she's still adding.
I think I got them all.
Yeah. Wow.
There could be.
So let me say this about Tennessee. Growing up in Atlanta, we went to Chattanooga quite a bit. I've spent a little bit of time in Nashville. I like that state. And fun fact, if you take all 12 members of my fantasy football team or league, all the different guys spread around the country. Because when we started, we were on Atlanta, and now 9 out of the 12 are not in Atlanta anymore. And Nashville, Tennessee is basically the epicenter, like the geographical center of our league. And so we threaten every year to just hold the draft in Nashville because it's equal, it's like the middle of the. Anyway, like I said, fun fact, at least for me. So I agree completely with New Jersey. As someone who's lived there, New Jersey sucks so much. However, Houston, Texas, you know me, Houston. Houston is actually worse than New Jersey. At least Western Jersey. We lived way out west toward Pennsylvania. And I have lived all the way east toward New York, and it really sucked there. And that's before the family moved up there. But Houston, Texas, I'm sorry. There's just not one redeeming thing about Houston, Texas. It is the armpit.
It's the armpit of Texas.
Yeah. I like the Woodlands.
But you notice.
I think that's pretty.
But you notice
the rest of Houston
to get to the Woodlands,
horrific.
You have to go 45 minutes outside of the city into this master plan community that is not in Houston proper.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's true.
Houston is 2 hours from Houston.
Wait.
By the way,
say that again.
I go there. I said Houston is 2 hours from Houston.
That's true. That's good.
That's funny.
That. Okay,
so that.
That's true.
So, did you come up with your list there, Kelly? Let's hear it.
I did. I have 13, and I'm sitting with it. All right. So Japan, Texas, Alabama, Kentucky, Germany, Belgium, D.C., Alaska, D.C., Texas, New Mexico, Texas, Reno. Ooh, and then back to
How
Texas,
is Reno, by the
14.
way?
Wow.
I came back.
That's
so there
amazing.
we go.
Really?
That was going to be my least favorite.
Wow.
But I think it was a me thing. I don't think it was a Reno thing. Now, Reno is like the wild. Have y'all been there?
Oh.
Wild west. I mean, like there are prostitutes. It's complete. Everything there is legal. It's Vegas,
okay, so this is.
Vegas,
I was just having this conversation off the air with Pat the other day, and I don't know if I've ever talked about this, but it's widely known in my family that I've told Carrie we can never live closer than an hour to a casino. Right, that's what I figured about Reno. So the draw for Reno, there's no state income tax. It's the fact that you're close to the mountains. I would imagine, right? It seems like the perfect spot.
It's beautiful.
Okay.
On paper,
and then I remember, oh
great.
crap! I bet gambling's legal there, and that's probably not a good thing. So okay, I'm good.
Prostitution's legal, gambling's legal.
It's like is it like a little Vegas then?
It's kind of like a little Vegas, but it's a little bit more like off the beaten path kind of Vegas. It's not as sexy as Vegas. I mean, downtown is kind of cute. They've got the casinos and the Reno sign and everything, and then the mountains are in the backdrop. I mean, Tahoe's the best part about it. Tahoe's gorgeous, but it's really poor. There's a lot of drugs. There's no HEB.
So
really
all of the
me.
things that gambling brings.
No, I meant.
Okay.
Yes, exactly. No, it was. I ended up there when I graduated college. I graduated in December of 2003, and I had a college graduation party, and I was bartending I bartended through college, and so another bartender brought like his homeboy or whatever, and I fell in love with him on the spot. He had a motorcycle and tattoos, and 6 weeks later, I decided to move to Reno, Nevada with him. I think I was 22. Went about as good as it sounds. I was back within a year. So it just might have been me. But I mean, tattoo motorcycle boy aside, it's kind of like just debauchery, and not like sexy debauchery.
Hold on a second. No, don't. Let's not pursue. Hold on.
Vegas is.
I'm just doing the math here on my own. Are we counting the same place twice if you move back? Okay.
There's a couple places. Yeah, I mean, I guess.
I would.
Yeah, because I've lived in Texas
there.
1, 2, 3, 4 times. I lived in DC twice.
10.
So those are the overlaps.
Okay. So, yeah. I will say,
wow,
Charleston,
okay.
South Carolina. Oh, you want me to go through? Born and raised in Atlanta. Then I went to Scottsbluff, Nebraska during high school. Then back to Atlanta. Then to college in Lincoln, Nebraska. Then back to Atlanta. And then Houston, Omaha, Charleston for 5 years. That's our favorite place, far and away. Then New Jersey, and then Dallas. So here we are.
Wow. What part of Jersey?
Hunterdon County. So when before the family got up there, and I lived 5 months, I rented a room in Perth Amboy, which is grotesque. And it's right there on the coast, and it's just a few train stops from New York. PERTH dash AMBOY. Enunciation, not my forte.
Wow.
Well,
sounds lovely.
So here is the only cool
nonsense
thing about Perth Amboy. In Perth Amboy, just before the Revolutionary War really got kicked into high gear, General Howe met with Benjamin Franklin and John Adams, and he was out on Staten Island, the general, and our homeboys were there in Perth Amboy, and they rented a room. And they were gonna take a boat out to try to let's try to avoid war. Obviously, they failed, and then the whole thing exploded. But the night that they spent in Perth Amboy, and I wish I knew this when I lived there, because I would have tried to find if there's a plaque or something. It's such a great story. So John Adams and Ben Franklin, they have to sleep in the same bed. They had one room at this inn or whatever. And then they argued while they were trying to fall asleep if you should open the window or close it, because based on the fresh air, like one of them, because we didn't know a lot about germs back then. And so John Adams, I think John Adams wanted to keep the room closed off, and Ben Franklin said, no, we need fresh air and all this stuff. And so I guess Ben Franklin was just droning on and on, according to John Adams, who's great when he writes about this. He's like, I let the old man have his way because I was falling asleep and he was just babbling about whatever. So anyway, I love those little anecdotal stories in history. It really brings the founders to life. And anyway, yeah, wow. not so
Makes
much
it
the way
sound
I
a little
tell
more
it.
exciting.
But if
sure.
you read it in his book, it's so, or read the book John Adams, and the way it's written, it tells a lot better. Okay, so there's a story that I had here about a mom leaving her 18-year-old home alone to go on her honeymoon, and then the school reached out to the kid because, and the article goes on to talk about how, oh my gosh, check this out, I didn't catch this till now. On her Reddit thread, so she said, I left my teenager at home for a week. Why did the school make such a big deal about it? Well, first of all, you shouldn't have posted this publicly. Should have kept. That's the first thing.
That's fair.
93,000 interactions.
Yeah, that's the first problem.
So she went on her honeymoon, and quote, she wrote, apparently this raised red flags, and he got called in to see his guidance counselor and questioned him about the situation. She said, he's a legal adult. He can vote. He can call in case of an emergency.
Right.
And so she's asking, was the school out of line? Is it me? And I guess, first of all, there's so much here. We can pull this apart. Like, what's the proper age that you can leave your kids at home? I'm sure it depends on the kid. Mm-hmm. Part of me is like, I'm glad that the school cared, but I'm also pissed that they cared too much. It's yep. Yeah. So I just wondered.
That's overstepping.
First of all, first rule of parenting: when you leave your kids at home, don't tell anybody. Not the school. No one. No one. We'll find out if something bad happens, but we don't need.
Yeah.
Maybe a neighbor knows, right? Okay. Hey, it's first time. Okay. Maybe. It depends on if you trust your neighbors. So I just didn't know if you guys had a general rule of thumb on when you think it's okay and I hesitate to ask you this since it's being broadcast and you have young children, but but as someone whose kids are ages 21, 19, 17, I'll tell you straight up, because I had to ask Carrie before we did this. I was like, when did we start leaving them home alone? And it helps to have a sibling that's older. You know, there's so many variables.
Older, yeah.
But if you're going to the store or something and your kids are trustworthy, right? I mean, just whatever. I just know that I was home alone. I think the statute of limitations is gone. I was like 9 or 10 years old. I was a latchkey kid. I was at home cooking.
Yes.
Yeah.
And by the time I was 11, I'm babysitting other kids. You know,
so,
we were okay.
But
no, I think. No, I think you're right.
Is it because we're Gen X?
I mean,
is that why it's different?
You know, we were.
People are so sensitive now.
It's because we're Gen X.
This is the thing. They freak out over something like this. Like, how dare you leave your kid at home at age 18? But if the kid were 7 and said he wanted to be a chick, then the same people bitching about this would be like, oh, that's totally understandable if wants to lop off some body parts. But I'll be damned if I'm going to let him stay at home and spend the night alone at 18.
No problem.
Yeah. So, but
none of it makes sense.
Let's see here. I'm just.
I have not left my kids home alone yet, and honestly, I just think think it's because I was so bad, and I see a lot of myself in my children that I'm like, okay. It's not that I don't trust them.
Hold on. I think I might have thought of. I think I might have thought of a different. What do you call it? Not dynamic. I don't even know what I'm looking for here, but it might be different for JP than you, Kelly, because 2 girls, you have 2 boys, right, Kelly?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, 2 boys. I'm a boy mom.
There could actually be some serious injuries with 2 boys at home beating each other up or whatever. Now that I think this through, the risk of bodily harm in JP's household is a lot less with 2 girls compared to 2 boys.
It's not that high.
I don't know.
Yeah.
No. The boys would be launching themselves off the second floor. I'll find them on the roof, you know, probably naked.
Whatever. Just do me a favor, guys. Make sure that the blinds stay closed. We don't need Mrs. Carson calling the cops.
Yes.
But it's such a crazy contrast, though, because, I mean, when I was a kid, and I'm talking 8, 9, 10 years old, my friends and I would leave in the morning and ride our bikes. We would be like towns away. Never talk to our parents. No cell phones. No water bottles.
That's the other thing.
No AirTags or
if
whatever.
I run into Walmart,
you know,
my kids had a landline from the house that they could call. If there was a problem, we could rush back. And, and so there was times when Aslan was babysitting and maybe we're at a movie and she calls, hey, you know, Zeeley's vomiting again or whatever. I don't know. That's a bad example. But we would never have gone out, JP, if that were the case. So let me read some of these comments here.
She's like, I know you guys are having fun at the theater.
We have to get out. Up again. You clean it up. Let's see here. Some comments here. Nothing says we want you prepared for adulthood like being an adult and then telling you that you don't know how to survive on your own. Let's see. Some making comparisons. Let's see. When I was 18, I traveled solo around the world. Your kid can handle a week at home alone. Okay, I don't know that I want my 18-year-old traveling solo around the world. Maybe, you know, in the military, sure.
No.
But
no. I moved out of the house at 17.
Yeah.
Some have done that,
let's see.
And it hasn't gone well.
Others take the school's position, pointing out that administrators may just have been ensuring there was nothing to worry about with their student. Okay. They were concerned for his safety. Imagine if he'd been an 18-year-old abandoned and fending for... Yeah, but he wasn't! God.
But can you abandon an 18-year-old? Right. An 18-year-old's an adult.
Yeah, it is an 18. Yeah.
That's like, is it even...
This whole thing doesn't make sense.
Like,
they're
let's
an
say,
adult.
for argument's sake, somebody called the cops, and the cops
Yeah.
came. That's an adult, right?
Can you imagine?
No, that's
Cops
crazy.
come like, how old are you, sir?
Oh
Do you have
gosh, I
driver's
just made my
license?
dog
Yep.
bark by knocking on the wall for effect, and that kind of backfired, didn't it? Okay, a couple more quick things here, then I'll leave y'all alone. Let's see here. Oh, this is this is where I was gonna play a video, but I'm terrified to because you know what? I should say goodbye now, just in case it kicks me off. But as I was reading through that and thinking of when I would stay home alone, I had this video of this kid, and I thought, if people wanted to see what it was like for me as a kid, it is summed up in this one video that I guarantee you will not play. So let's just sit here and see if it magically plays. I'm watching it off to the side here. It's not gonna play. Isn't that good? Isn't that good stuff?
Yeah, no.
Did you hear the crash? Okay, here we go. Okay.
Oh my God, are those
So
like
there's some weird language. I don't know. We're gonna do a trick. Watch this. Okay, you saw. You saw that whole thing, right?
It had to
You
be
saw the whole
real,
thing?
right?
Okay,
A boy.
I don't know which boy I would be.
Yeah.
Like, am I the boy who pulls the sheet out and knocks into the other kid, causing the whole thing to fall? Or am I the blonde kid who gets injured?
Yeah.
Oh!
I would have been the blonde kid.
Now, I know it's... Yeah, okay. So anyway, I know it's hard to tell on there, but I'm pretty sure that the little kid didn't die. Pretty sure. Because the one kid runs away, and if you slow it down, you see the other kid, if anything happened, he had his legs crushed. He's fine. He's fine. Walk it off, kid. Okay.
Walk it off.
One last question for you. Oh yeah, it's another freaking video that's not going to play right. Let me try it though. There's this video. It's called, the title is Just Another Day in Australia. So let me play this for you, and then I have a follow-up question. Isn't this good? Isn't this funny stuff here?
Yeah.
Look at that. Okay, let's see if this works. Kangaroo chases a guy. Have you seen
Everything
the
in
kangaroo
Australia's trying
chasing
to
this
kill
guy
you.
in Australia? They get into a fight. Look at this.
I mean, that
What is it? I mean, it's
kangaroo is
creepy.
no joke
It's
either.
creepy
It's
how
huge.
human they are.
It's like,
Oh,
It is creepy. Yeah.
right.
I mean, he's
It's-
like throwing right.
I don't like it.
hooks.
So I just wondered, because I'd be thinking this is on brand for Keith. I'm either gonna die from the China hutch falling on me or the kangaroo beating my ass. So I want to know, JP, have you ever,
Yeah.
and I've told the story about being electrocuted and shooting across the room. That was fun. So have you ever been close to death, JP, or feared for your life?
Yeah, there's been, well, actually, there's two times. One time I was trying to replace some switches in our house, and I
Oh,
was like,
no.
I don't need to turn the power
You're
off.
me.
I can do this. And I electrocuted myself once, and I was like, that kind of hurt. And I was like, it'll be fine. When again, I did it 5 times, and then finally I was like, you know what?
Oh no.
I think I'm done. I think I'm done. I'm just gonna
Hold
turn
on. Do
the
you have
power off. So I
superpowers
did that.
now?
But the other time was flying in a helicopter. No, I wish I did.
Ooh.
I wish I did. Yeah.
Would you tell us if you did?
No, I wouldn't. So that's a better question. No, the other time
Oh,
was
no.
flying in a helicopter.
Wait,
in
he
Flat
wasn't
Earth.
flying it, was he?
So that was scary.
Was he?
No, but he was in the front seat with the pilot, and that was scary.
Oh.
I'm not
And I was
flying
listening
anywhere
the
right
whole
now,
time,
by
and
the
I
way.
was like, Glenn, don't touch that. I literally heard the pilot at one point go, Glenn, do not touch that button. And I was like,
Wow.
which button?
So
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
So
glad that you're. Oh, before I
That was
forget,
scary.
you're talking about Glenn and helicopters. Let me just first say this. Sorry, my brain is a little scattered. I don't know if you guys have ever picked up on that, but I had a buddy who was a pilot in high school, and he took me up in his plane one time, and he asked me. His name was Wes Williams, and I'm sure he went on to be a professional pilot like his dad. But, well, now's your time. You ready to fly, Keith? I'm like, dear God, what? And so I had the controls, and I mean, that plane dropped, It didn't, it was like this. And I said, okay. As about like 15 seconds. All right, Wes, I'm done. Now I can say I've flown a plane. It was terrifying. But it's just ironic. Today, I'm driving home. So Chris Cruz, a coworker of ours, JP, he has told me in the past that, and in fact, let me do the map on this because this is important. Okay, so you know where Alliance Airport is up here, and I'm sorry to be so specific here, but JP, it's Perot Field at Fort Worth Alliance Airport. Now, you know where Dr. Phil works at, it's Merritt Broadcasting? Merritt Street, thank you. Merritt Street. Let me find
Merritt
that.
Street,
Okay, Merritt Street. Why isn't it coming up here? Because it's in Fort Worth.
I had an hour and a half Zoom call with him one time.
Did it go well?
It was interesting. I mean, I wasn't on the show.
Oh, okay.
Thank God. So that worked out great.
So I'm
session.
not kidding.
I'm just kidding.
By car to get from Perot Alliance Airport to Dr. Phil's studio. I love you, Dr. Phil. I truly do. But it's 6.0 miles according to Google Maps. It's an 11-minute drive. It's green. Hell, it's always green. It's right there. 11-minute drive. So Chris Cruz tells me, Dr. Phil, he lands at Alliance Airport and then takes a helicopter to his broadcast facility. I'm like, what? He's like, bro, I've checked it on the Aviator app. I'm telling you, dude flies 6.0 miles in a helicopter after his plane lands to get to work. And I'm like, you know this for sure. And he's like, yep, I'm telling you. I'm driving home today, and I'm driving by Dr. Phil's Merritt Street Broadcasting in North Fort Worth. And I see a helicopter landing right where I know that studio is. And I text Chris Cruz, of course, after I come to a complete stop down the road, not impacting anyone else on the road. And I say, bro,
legally,
is Dr. Phil's helicopter in the air right now, and where is it? And he said, he's landing at his studio. I'm like, that guy is flying. He's shaving. How long does it take to walk from the plane to the helicopter, to fly up and then fly down? It's an 11-minute drive. What are you doing? Bro, come on. I love you. But that is, how much is that costing?
Wow.
And tell me, what are you saving? 3 minutes? Stop. Oh.
That's
Isn't that what happened to
incredible.
Kobe? Wasn't Kobe going like 15 miles?
This isn't even traffic. This was 10 a.m. this morning. And in an area that you're never sitting in traffic going from that airport to that studio. You're never.
No.
It's just
never.
Silly. I don't know that.
Okay, sorry. It's because he can, and part of me is like, I want to just have that problem too. Do I take the helicopter?
Right?
Okay, I
Me
need to
too.
show a house in South Austin.
Do I take the driver?
There you go.
I'm taking the chopper today. Okay, I just thought that was interesting. Okay, Kelly, you ever had a near-death experience?
Yeah, I have. I have had a couple. They're not super sexy because I'm not a man.
We go spectacular when we try to off ourselves. Yes.
Yeah, right. Y'all try to kill yourselves all the time. I mean, bless your hearts. I almost died. It's not super sexy, but when I was pregnant with my second child, I had a gallbladder attack. And this was kind of funny too, because I had right before I got pregnant, I went and got Reiki. Do you know what Reiki is? It's energy healing. They don't touch you or anything. They just kind of, And she's like, she goes through, she's like, your throat chakra's blocked and this and that. And she's like, have you ever had issues with your gallbladder? And I'm like, I don't even know what that is, right? Fast forward a couple weeks, and I was 9 weeks pregnant. Middle of the night, I have this pain, and I'm like, sit her up, and I knew exactly what it was, right? So I go in, because the Reiki girl tells me, she's like, listen, it's gonna be worse than what they say that it's gonna be. And I was like, okay. She's like, really, like almost shaking me. She's like, you really got to get this taken care of. Oh no, my AirPod's about to die.
Yeah.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I go and they do the scan and they see my gallstones and they try to talk me into wait until the second trimester or whatever. Well, one of the stones had left and gotten to my liver, and I was going into liver failure. I didn't know that. Nobody saw it. I didn't know. So I'm telling the doctor, I'm like, no, something's wrong. You got to do it. And they did it, and he's 7 now, and I've had 2 emergency surgeries.
Wow.
At 9 months pregnant, yeah.
No,
so again,
it's so fascinating you mentioned that. I don't know where I mentioned this.
Wow.
If it was on with Pat, if it was Drinks with Keith, I have no idea. But I recently tried acupuncture, and probably.
God, didn't I tell you to do that?
Yes. I'm sorry. Yes. Kelly told me to do the acupuncture. So check this out.
It works.
You know how they at your consultation they wet the end of a pin looking thing or something, and then they run it on your foot, right? Is that what it was? On your feet? Yeah. Something like that, sure.
That's your meridians.
Then they go, hey, what's the story on your gallbladder? It's got some really, like, I forgot what she said. Some, like, negative whatever. And I go,
no way.
I said, well, I had it removed in 2002. She goes, oh, that explains it. And I'm looking over at her computer monitor, and, like, I have, like, all these interesting, most of them are normal levels. There's a couple spikes here and there, which they were right. Freaks me out. But the gallbladder one was off the charts in the red. And that's when she goes, what's the deal with your gallbladder? I'm like, what the hell? What is this? Is voodoo.
It's huge in Chinese medicine. It's huge. Like it's when I went to my acupuncturist after I lost my gallbladder, she was like mortified. Like it's like the center of where your chi goes through or something. So I don't remember exactly what it was, but apparently there's a lot of meaning behind it. Your body being able to function with it.
And by the way, please, if you have gallbladder issues or whatever, get a second opinion. Don't just jump to get it taken out, because I swear,
yeah, no kidding. If you told me tomorrow I would have to give birth or have a gallbladder
did they end up
attack,
taking your gallbladder out
all day?
Wow.
It's like the worst thing ever.
Okay, so
they took it out. Yeah, they had to take it out, and then they went in and took the stone out of my liver.
Do you have a? I'm sorry, this is Health Watch with Keith Malinak. Welcome to today's program. No, that's not it. It was. Do you ever wake up with chest pains? It's like heartburn, and you have to eat and drink.
Sometimes. Not like pain.
We'll pick up this conversation somewhere else. It's life without a gallbladder. It's worse now than in 2002. The problem I was trying to correct, and it's been going on for 20 years. Okay.
You need to take Oxbile.
Okay, one last thing. Yeah, please send me that information. I'm not kidding.
No, I will talk
I want to play one last video. Everyone get ready to play this game together. This will be the last thing we do here. This is a unique math problem. You want to talk about things that freak me out. First of all, math, but that's separate.
Okay.
It's this math problem. So get ready, grab a pen and paper. If this is not loud enough, somebody tell me, or if it's too loud, because I cannot hear.
Say the weird thing.
Think of a number.
All right, so she said, say the weird thing. Everybody heard that? Okay, here we go. Think of a number.
Think of a number between 1 and 10. With that number, multiply it by 9. Now, if you have a 2-digit number, I want you to add those 2 digits together. Great. With that new number, subtract 5. Now, with that new number, find the corresponding letter in the alphabet. A is 1, B is 2, and so on. Okay, if you have a letter now, think of a name of a country that begins with that letter. A country. Got one? With the name of that country, the last letter in that country, think of a name of an animal that begins with that letter. Okay? With the last letter in the name of that animal, think of a color that begins with that letter. You got one? Seen any orange kangaroos in Denmark lately?
I don't like it. I don't like it.
Stop it. There's no way.
I don't like this game.
Denmark kangaroo.
I don't like that. We all got the same freaking thing.
Wow.
Right.
What witchcraft is that? I don't know that
That's
one.
crazy.
We can talk about inner-earth aliens, but I don't know that one.
I
gotta learn that.
I will
That sounds
tweet
like a
this out
fun
here
thing
in
to
just
do.
a moment.
Wow.
If people want to check that out, at Keith Malinak
Please
over on
do.
the X. JP, what was your handle again? I'm sorry. It's at J Paul. At J. Paul Decker,
At
mercury1.org
jpauldecker.
if you can donate. Speaking of donating, don't forget our friend Victoria,
Yes.
givesendgo.com/Victoria Strong if you can help with those cancer expenses. And Kelly, if people are in the real estate market in Austin, Texas, where can they go to find your stuff? Should they just follow you on Twitter?
Area.
Or...
So, yeah, you follow me on Twitter at Kelly, Kelly, the number 4 freedom. Again, DM me. I work from San Marcos to Waco. I love my job. We can listen to alien podcasts in the car. It's a lot of fun. I do not own a Blazer. Like, I'm not that kind of real estate agent.
I don't get
but
it.
yes, thank you.
So, okay, so
What?
That's awesome.
don't forget your assignment, Kelly. Send me whatever the gallbladder help is. And JP, you were going to send me something
Oh,
too,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
No? What was it? Oh, no, I got to send you. I got to tweet out the orange kangaroo thing. I'm sorry. That's what it was.
I don't know.
Okay, kids. Thank y'all so much. I
Yes,
appreciate
I gotta
you
learn
making
that.
time today. Let me see if I can figure out how to stop this live stream.